Right, well, my name's Louisa Smith and I work for Warwickshire County Council. And I am basically the person that's going to, well, one of the people in the economy and skills team that's going to be helping you with your project and with your claim. So first of all, congratulations. You've all got through the process of Adapt and Diversify, and you've all been notified that you are going to be in receipt of a grant to help you manage your project. So, you know, that's good news to start with. So what I'm going to do is you will have all had offer letters sent out. I think the majority of you have returned them, but if there are any queries about that, that's probably something that we should talk about outside of this meeting because everybody's offer letter is different. And obviously, I don't want you giving away personal details and what have you in a public forum. So if you have got any queries with regards to your offer letter, do let me know and we can catch up after this webinar. I have put us in for an hour. I don't think it will take that long. It's just because there's quite a few of you and I don't know how many questions there's going to be. So I thought if I put in place an hour, if it only takes half an hour, then we all get an extra half an hour free in our diaries. So I can see happy faces for that one. Right, okay. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen with you and I'm going to show you the paperwork that I'm going to send to you. So this is obviously after you've sent your offer letter back to us signed. Once we received your signed offer letter, we then process the 20% upfront payment. And we go through the claiming and reporting process, which is what we're going to do now. So let me just share my screen with you. Okay. This is where we hope my internet decides to still work. Yes. Right, okay. Can everybody see this? It's a WCC COVID Recovery and Investment Fund claiming and reporting notes.
Yeah.
You can't, yep, that's good. Right, okay, excellent. Okay, so basically, you'll all receive this, and this is just basically information regarding your grant offer and the schedules and the budget. So it's information specific to your project. Okay, so it's basically what it does is it explains a little bit more about the offer letter and also what we're expecting from you in return when you go to make a claim. Now, this paperwork is all a bit wordy, but I don't want you to worry about that. We do a number of different grants at the county council, but what we try and do is use the same paperwork, and unfortunately it does mean that some of the the grants like this that are a lot less complicated, the paperwork can seem a bit wordy. So don't worry too much. We're going to drill down to the basics and it's all going to be absolutely fine, trust me. Okay, so basically when we go through the details on the claiming reporting notes, the important thing that it says on here is it refers to information in your offer letter with regards to when claims are expected, when they need to be made. It also refers to if there is a change to your project that you really need to tell us about it. And also you have to remember, because in this case, you've given us quotations. So you've given us quotes from your preferred supplier. If your preferred supplier then cannot deliver your project, if it, for example, if it's a refurb or equipment or what have you, you'll then obviously need to get another supplier. Just let us know. That's fine. Let us know. As long as you're going to get another supplier that's basically going to do the same job and you're not completely changing the project, that's not a problem. But the communication is key. It's just really just keeping us informed, letting us know, and we'll try and be as flexible as we possibly can. We're a very small team. It's basically the people that you'll probably be dealing with will be myself, Louisa, my colleague Emily, who's actually on this call at the moment, and our colleague James. It's really probably going to be one of three of us that you're dealing with, and we all work very closely together, and we will do our best to be as flexible for you as we possibly can. Okay, I'm just letting someone else in. Okay, that's fine. Right, okay. So yeah, it's just basically making sure that your you're aware of the information in your offer letter. Obviously, we've had a phone call with you before the offer letter's been sent out with regards to safeguarding jobs, creation of jobs, and also your project timescales. Okay, so this is all part of this. Sorry, there's still people coming in. I won't be a sec. Right, okay. So, basically, on this claim and monitoring form, it also shows you as well, also suggests on there about an email that you'll receive from WCC Supplier Maintenance. Now, if you're already a supplier to Warwickshire County Council, then you won't necessarily receive this email. But if you're not, you will. And the reason being is that we need to set you up as a supplier so we can make a payment to you. It's as simple as that. There's nothing untoward about it at all. The email comes from WCC Supplier Maintenance, and you need to return that email to them. There has to be a degree of separation between the team that is dealing with your claim and your project and the team that is dealing with the payments actually being made into your bank, obviously to make sure that we're not all committing fraud and getting all your grant payments paid into our personal accounts, which we wouldn't do, of course, anyway. But it's just one of those things that there needs to be a gap so that in proceedings, so that's what happens. Okay, so if you've not already received that, check your junk mail folders. If you're concerned that you haven't got, if you're concerned that you haven't received the form, then do let me know, and we'll get that, and I'll ask for another form to be sent out to you. Okay. Right. Okay. I'm going to go on to. You've got, we're talking about outputs and milestones on there, but I'm going to show you the claim spreadsheet that I'm going to be sending you. Right, so obviously it's not completed with anybody's details at the moment. And I'm hoping that you can see a new Excel spreadsheet come up. Okay, excellent. Right, okay, so basically, this is the claim 1 declaration. And what we've done is with this claim form, we've allowed for 3 claims. It may be that you need to make more than that, but we try and keep it to 3 at a maximum, just on the basis because there's quite a lot of work involved in submitting a claim for you and for us. So we try and keep it down to 3 if we can. Some of you might only need to make 1 claim. It just depends on the nature of your project. Okay. So basically, the information you've got on here would be the reference number, which would be in line with what's on your offer letter, the name of your project, and your project start date. I think in the majority of cases, and I think certainly in all the cases of everybody that's online today, the start date would be the 15th of February, which is the date that the program went live. Okay. That would also be the start of the claim period. So this would be your claim period, claim number 1. The claim period finish is the day that you submit the claim. Is this your final claim? If it's not, no. If it is, yes. Okay, and then you go through to the next page and there's a declaration here. Now this is really helpful because this just basically tells you everything we need to fulfill your claim. So what we need is invoices or legible copies for all elements of expenditure. So basically, when your supplier is providing you with a service, they will obviously provide you with an invoice, and ideally we just need a scanned copy, or I think probably in a lot of cases people will email across an invoice. So we need a copy of that invoice in full so we can see what you're paying for and who you're paying it to. Okay. We also need evidence of payment. So basically either a copy of the a screen grab of the payment going out of your bank, a redacted bank statement. Obviously, we're not interested in seeing any other transactions, just that transaction for that payment that's been made. Okay, and then we've got labeled photographs. I mean, this is if it's relevant. For some of you, if you're dealing with getting a grant to do a website, then you probably won't necessarily have photographs of your website because it doesn't really work like that, does it? But if you're buying equipment or doing a refurbishment, then obviously it would be good to see sort of what it looked like before as opposed to what it looks like after you've done the refurbishment, that type of thing. So it really does depend on the type of project, and we really have got a very diverse mix of businesses on this call today in across all sectors. So it really does depend on your business. Okay. So that would be on relevant to there, and it's any additional evidence to comply with special conditions of grant. None of you have got special conditions to your grant, so you don't need to worry about that. Okay. And then basically what you're doing is you're declaring that you've met all the criteria of the claim, and what you're claiming for, and that you're not defrauding the council. And then you have to sign in blood. No, sorry, you don't. You just need to sign at the bottom just to say that you understand what you're doing, how you're, what you're submitting the claim for, and you're just signing to say that you're putting that across. Okay, now I'll show you the claim form. This is where the magic happens. So basically, you've got an expenditure subheading as shown in the offer letter. I don't think any of you have got expenditure subheadings in your offer letters, so I wouldn't worry about that too much. And again, with the reference number, the item description could be, for example, 50 payment for website, or payment for new windows or equipment. It's just basically whatever it is that you're buying, that's what you need to put in your item description. Okay, and then you've got the supplier name. So the people that are supplying that piece of equipment to you, the invoice number from the invoice date, and the invoiced amount. Now, obviously, you're going to be sending us a copy of that invoice. So we're expecting the information on this line to match for the total amount. Right, okay. Will be for the total amount on the invoice. Okay, can you still all see my screen? Sorry, something went weird then. Right, okay, that's fine. Right, okay, so that's for the total amount on the invoice and the eligible expenditure.
I can't see your screen.
Are you on a computer?
No, I'm on a phone.
This is the problem. Yeah, unfortunately, that's
okay.
It's I can only share if you're looking attending sort of via a laptop or a tablet.
It was there a minute ago. It's just gone. That's all.
It's just gone. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm on a tablet and it's gone as well.
It has, right, okay. Let me unshare and share it again and see if that works, because something did flash up on my screen then. So I won't be a second. Let me stop sharing and then I'll just try it again. Okay, so it should have disappeared now. And now I'm going to share it again and hopefully this will work. The wonders of modern technology.
Come up on
okay.
my screen, Louisa.
Yeah,
got it.
That worked now. Yeah, excellent. Okay, that's brilliant. Thank you. Right, so as I was saying, with the invoice, it's a question of making sure that this line matches the your invoice, basically. Okay, now if you are VAT registered, then the eligible expenditure amount will be minus the VAT. If you're not VAT registered, then the eligible amount will be including the VAT. So it very much depends on your personal situation. Obviously, if you're VAT registered, you can claim the VAT back. If you're not VAT registered, you can't, and therefore will pay that element of your claim. Okay, so that's very important, that there is a distinctive difference there between people that are VAT registered and those that aren't. I seem to have a lot of people sort of coming and going, so I'm hoping that everyone's okay. Right, okay. So basically as well in here, I've got the grant amount of 100%. In the main, you will be receiving 100% of your project cost. Some of you may well be doing a project because the maximum grant amount is 20,000. Some of you may be doing a project that costs over £20,000, but we're still only going to give you £20,000 maximum. Okay, but when your claim form is sent out to you, the intervention rate will be as it is on your offer letter, which shows a percentage of the amount that's going to be paid. But I would say probably for the majority of you on the call today, it will be 100%. Okay, so basically when you put the amount in here, so if you say eligible amount and it's £100, it just automatically completes it that you're claiming for £100. Okay, so if we then go across here, you'll see that there's then information that you need to complete with regards to the payment, and this will then need to match up with the information that you send to us about the transaction that you've made. So basically a payment reference, either a BACS reference or a check number, if that's how you've made the payment, the date that the transactions cleared the bank, and the total transaction amount. Now, obviously, I would expect the total transaction amount to match the invoiced amount. Okay, so again, if you're VAT registered and you've got the invoiced amount with the VAT on there, and the total transaction amount will be with the VAT, and obviously, but this figure will be without the VAT. If you're not VAT registered, then they'll all be the same. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I can see people nodding, so that's all good. Right, so basically you then repeat the process for each line of your claim. Some of you are, literally have got a list of items that you're purchasing, in which case then you're getting them from different suppliers and what have you. If you've got one supplier that's supplying you 10 lines of equipment, that's fine, just put it on one line. As long as the amount matches up with the invoice total and what you're purchasing, that's absolutely fine. So you don't have to list out the items individually from the invoice. Okay, this is more if you've got different suppliers for different elements that you would then need to put the different lines in. Okay, right, so is everybody okay with that so far?
Yeah.
Right, okay, do remember, put your hands up or put a note in the chat if you have any issues at all. Okay, right, so we'll go on to the progress report. So in here, this is just basically how are you getting on. Okay, if you're only putting in one claim, your progress report is I've completed my project. Hooray! If you're putting in more than one claim, obviously it's good for us to know at what stage you are at in your project. So basically, if you put in here equipment ordered, or website being built, or that first point of when you're going to make your claim. So just give us a bit of an idea of what's going on. If you have needed to change any of your suppliers, then this is where you would have to note it in here. This is as well as obviously letting us know in advance, because it's nice to know these things in advance, because then when we get your claim, we can just process it rather than keep having to come back to you, because the last thing we want to do is delay it. As soon as we want to get your claim, what we want to do is check it and then pay it as quickly as possible. Caroline, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, I just ask a question about claims, because we've just completed the offer letter, signed it, sent it back, and we've received our first 20% into the bank. So is the claim only relevant for the purchases against what we're using that money for, that £1,500 to purchase the equipment that we're going to get?
Yeah, I mean, basically, I have sort of made some payments this morning of people that have returned offer letters. So although the money, I don't think the money will be in your account yet, because unfortunately, I don't think we're that quick. But I think you get a remittance advice that tells you that we're going to make the payment. So you probably will receive it either Friday or Monday, because obviously it needs to be a business day. But yeah, I have actually already started paying the 20% payments up front.
Okay.
Basically, what that's to do is to try and help you guys with cash flow, because we recognise that a lot of your businesses have been closed, or still are closed, or have being able to trade in a very limited fashion at the moment. So the difference with this grant as opposed to most of the other grants that we do is that we are giving you some money up front. Normally we don't give you any money up front, and we just give you the money once you've bought everything. So basically I record the fact that we've made that payment to you, but when you make your claim, you claim as if you're claiming for the full amount. So basically within that claim I can see what you've spent that 20% payment on. Okay. So you're giving me the evidence that I need to show me that you've used that money in the correct way.
Okay, thank you.
That was the easiest way I could think of doing it, because I thought of different ways to try and do it, and it seemed all too complicated. And I thought it's much better if I just keep a record and you just tell me what you've spent it on.
Yeah, so as we put the claims in, you will be releasing that money against the money that we've spent on the invoices. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
Right, okay, thank you.
Yep, no, that's absolutely fine. Okay, so if you've got milestones in your project, then please feel free to fill this in, but there's no pressure to do that. It's like I say, these are forms that we use for some of our other grant programs where sometimes the project could be 2-3 year project, so in which case then we obviously need all of this information filling in. I think probably the majority of you guys will be completing in 6 to 12 months tops. So and if you're not, then obviously we've made an arrangement with you in accordance with that. So okay, so this is just to give us an idea. I just need to take a drink because my voice is going. Sorry about that. Okay, so then if we go on to the claim outputs, now this is basically when we've made the offer to you, you've agreed to safeguard jobs or create new jobs or have new products or techniques created. Now, this grant really focuses more on safeguarding rather than creating. So you only have to safeguard a minimum of one job, and that could be your own. If you're a one-man band, that's absolutely fine, or one-woman band, I should say. So basically, this will be as per on your offer letter. Okay, so if you're safeguarding a job, then the figure will be in there. Once you feel that that job has been safeguarded, then you can match it over here. So this is your forecast and this is your actual. Okay, so we're forecasting that you're going to safeguard one job between financial year 2021 to 22, and perhaps you're going to create one new technique because you didn't have a website and now you're going to have a website. So that's your one new technique. And then basically once those outputs, as we call them, have been completed, you then put the information across in this part. Okay, so it's just literally that would be, sorry, I'm highlighting too many cells. So if that would be 1 and that would be 1, and then obviously once that's done, you just put the figures over here and we can see that you've completed your outputs. Okay. If you're creating jobs, obviously then there'd be a figure up there as well. Okay, that's great. And then obviously just let us know when you've created that job. So then you would need to, when you've actually done that, then you would put your figure in there. And then what we would do, and this is just really for a sort of a demographic bit of information really, is just give us information on who's got the job, male, female, sort of age group, that type of thing. We're not interested in their name, address, inside leg or anything like that. It's just to give us a vague demographic of the type of people that you're taking on. Okay, so that's the outputs page. Okay, has anyone got any questions from that? Right, okay, I'm just having a look at my notes. Right, okay. Obviously, as I was saying about making the payment up front, people that I've received signed offer letters from, I've started making those 20% payments up front. So you'll be receiving them. I would imagine you'll be getting remittance advices probably today and tomorrow, and you'll be receiving those 20% upfront payments sort of Monday of next week. So and obviously then when you put your claim in, you just put in your claiming for your spend and your evidence in your spend, and we take into the account the fact that we've paid you 20% already. So when you put your first claim in, obviously we'll know that we've already paid you some of that money, and we'll put the claim through for the money that's left over. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sorry, Mark, you've just put your hand up.
Yeah, I sent the supplier maintenance form back to you yesterday. Do I need to resend it on to the appropriate people?
No, that's fine, because I forwarded it to them.
Right, thank you.
It's all right. Okay, any other questions at all?
Nope.
Okay. Right, okay. Right. Yep, that's all fine then. Right, okay, so what we'll do is, so basically, that is how you complete a claim. So that is one full claim completed, okay? And it's just basically repeated for when you want to do the next one. Exactly the same process again. Okay, the only difference is obviously that you've got claim number 2, and obviously if that's your final claim, then you'd put yes in that one. So it's basically completely the same process. So hopefully, once you've done it once, it puts you in good stead for doing it the next time. Plus you can refer back to your first claim form as well and see what you put in before and do the same for the next claim. Okay, right, I'm going to stop. Oh, sorry, Mark, yes?
Can I just, obviously you're paying 20% up front. I think you might have cleared this, but I just want to clarify it. So you're paying 20% up front now. So when we submit our claim, are you paying that to us minus 20%?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Is that all right?
We said there's a question on the chat from Peter.
Okay.
Are the equipment photographs mandatory, i.e. we need to receive the equipment before we can claim?
You can always send us the photographs afterwards. If you obviously have to make the payment in advance of the equipment arriving, and I think in some cases where equipment is being made for you, so it's bespoke, then that's absolutely fine. Just if you just make a note that you'll forward the photographs as soon as you've received the equipment, then that's absolutely fine. But it would be nice to see the photographs because it's always really helpful. Right, so do we submit claims via email or paper? Email, please. Because basically we're all still working from home at Warwickshire County Council. We have been for over a year now, which is wonderful. But we're all sort of sorted out that we can work from home and do everything that we need to do. But you can send things in the post, but there's obviously limited people on site available to actually scan the items of post, and then they email them to me anyway. So you might as well cut out the middle person and email them straight across. Okay. Right. If you have to make a payment by a credit card, then basically just show a screenshot of that credit card transaction is absolutely fine. What we would need is obviously once we've made the payment to you, we would need to see evidence that you've actually paid the credit card off with the payment that we've made to you, because we wouldn't want to be in the situation where someone got themselves in debt on a credit card, we've paid the grant, and then they've not used it to pay the credit card off, because obviously the asset then would be at risk because it would be owned by the credit card company, not yourself. So we would need to see evidence that the credit card had been paid off, but we can have that afterwards. That's not a problem. Are there any other questions at all? Put your hands up, or you can type into the chat. I'm just trying to keep an eye on it. Oh, Mark's just put, I can see you. You've put your hand up, yeah.
How quick generally do the payments come through? So once you submitted the form with all the evidence, how many days are you generally looking at?
ASAP, basically. I mean, basically, when you send in the claim form, we will try and process the payment the same day we receive it. Sometimes it might take a couple of days, but generally we tend to try and get the payment to you within a week of you submitting the claim form. There's no kind of 28-day invoice period or anything like that. It tends to be 3 to 5 business days. We're aware that you are all in very horrible situations at the moment where you've probably not had a great amount of income and you can't afford to be out of pocket. So we try and make those payments as quickly as we possibly can. Okay. Right.
Louisa, there's a question from Carol about having access to the recording.
Yes. Basically, what happens is after we all finish our lovely little webinar, I send the recording to my IT and they convert it into a little movie on YouTube. And I can then, what I'll do is then I'll email you all the link to the YouTube recording along with your claim documents, so that if you're worried you've forgotten anything, you can just quickly skim through the recording when you've actually got your claim documents, so you can be looking at both at the same time. So yeah, I'll make sure I get that link sent across. It's usually a couple of days before it comes up, so it might not be today or or even this week. It might be Monday, but you will definitely get it. Hi, yeah, Michelle.
Sorry. Hi. Just a quick question. So if your project finishes obviously in September, what is there any follow-up to the end of the financial year? Or because if we've employed somebody, for example, I don't know, but we might end up employing somebody over Christmas, for example. So that then would be slightly different, but we haven't told you the update. So are we obliged to update to a specific date?
You're not obliged to update us, but if your project has meant that you've been able to take on a full-time member of staff, then I think it would be really positive for you to let us know about that, even after the project's finished, because then we can show. We basically have to report on grants that we give out to people, on jobs safeguarded and jobs created. So if the happy side effect of you receiving your grant is that you're able to take on a full-time member of staff, then it would be great for you to share that with us. But there's if your project's ended, there's no commitment from you to do that as such, but it would be nice if you did.
It would just be nice to kind of have an end of, I was just thinking financial year end next year, even though the project's finished. It'd just be nice to maybe have that follow-up.
Yeah, I think the thing is as well is what we tend to do is we do have a sort of a bit of a check-in with people at the end of the project, just to make sure that everything's gone as well as they could have hoped, and also for lessons learned, because it's helpful for you to tell us what's gone right and what hasn't, especially when dealing with Warwickshire County Council, because then it's lessons learned on our part as well, and we can make the experience better for grant recipients in the future.
Brilliant, thank you.
Okay.
We've got a question from Tracy. Louisa, do I need a purchase order number or just the reference number?
Is that for a purchase order number for what exactly? Sorry.
Hi. Can you
Sorry, Tracy. Yes, I can.
Right.
Yeah.
On a new supplier form, it's stated make sure you invoice with a purchase order number. But obviously we're not invoicing, we're just sending this claim form.
Yeah, that's fine. So you don't need to do that.
Yeah,
it's just that a lot of the time with this, unfortunately, again, the supplier form is for every supplier,
it's generic.
and we email, and sometimes we invoice other councils, and of course they always have to have a purchase order number, so that's why that's there. So don't worry about that. That's fine, Tracy. Sorry, I wasn't sure what you meant, but I completely understand now. Okay. Anyone else? Any questions at all? Okay, right. Well, if there's no further questions, what I will say is I'll make sure that I make a copy of this recording available to you all, and also get your claim documents sent across to you. And if you've got any queries in the meanwhile, you can always email the business@warwickshire.gov.uk website, which I shall just type in the chat. And the reason I
So-
say that is just because, sorry, I won't be a second, Emily. And the reason I say that is just because if you want a quick response, it's probably better to email that address. Sometimes, you know, if you email myself, I mean, for example, I'm out of the office this Friday. So if you want a response on Friday, then you should email the business email address. But I don't tend to be out the office for that long, but just so you're aware that you've got that address as well. And sorry, Emily, for interrupting. I can see we've got a question, haven't we?
Yeah.
I've got a question about my offer letter. Can I speak? Yes, you can. No problem at all, Chris. If you want to, I'll find your details. I think I know your business. I think I know which business you're from, and I'll give you a call after the webinar. Okay. Okay. Any other questions at all? If you think of anything afterwards, just email to that address, thebusiness@warwickshire.gov.uk. If you've got any questions you think of afterwards, just let us know. But we're always on hand. Do remember, I mean, just to let you know, obviously, we've got 52 applicants going through this process at the moment. So we are taking a lot of calls and getting a lot of emails. So, you know, I know obviously we want to get your claims paid as quickly as possible, but sometimes we might not always be able to answer the phone on the first time of calling, or you might go through to voicemail, or your email might take a couple of days to get a response. And I can only apologise for that, but we're actually quite a limited team of people, but we will always do our best to get back to everybody as quickly as we possibly can. Okay. Right, that's great. Okay, well, it's nice to meet you all and see lots of happy smiley faces. And if you've got any queries at all, obviously come back onto the business app email address. Other than that, I will catch up with you another time. Thank you very much for attending. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye bye.